And we're going to start talking about calendar now. So we're going to start by talking about what used to be Calendar Manager, because obviously in Calendar and RB8, the one function you're used to opening is the Calendar Manager. Now notice, in my Calendar menu, change number 1, no more Calendar Manager. So Calendar Manager in RB8 was a combination of basically 3 functions: list view, weekly view, monthly view. So you can see jobs is separated into 2 functions in RB9, list view and monthly view. List view, obviously, whatever I search for is going to give me a straight list of jobs and still have my color coding. Monthly view is going to give me a monthly view of my calendar. So kind of like Month at a Glance, but it looks a little different. So this more mimics Google Calendar, which I'll talk about in a second. So you'll notice right off the bat, there is no weekly view option. So weekly view is gone. It did not make it to RB8. So you only have list view and monthly view. Okay, now as far as list view or monthly view goes, now if you look here, I can have 4 jobs. So the quick tool tip right here for how many jobs we show, you can show between 3 and 10 jobs. And then the bottom right here, the blue part, is a clickable link. And if you click right here, this will give you the full day's details, all the jobs for that particular day you clicked on. And of course, you can see all the information, go into the jobs if you need to. So it's a little different than RB8, but it gives you the same bits of data and how it's handled, okay? We don't have that split screen anymore where it's at the bottom, so it just opens on top. Otherwise, list view is exactly the same as it was in RB8. Okay, now, the biggest complaint we had with RB9 is the fact that I can't go up anywhere I want up here and take one of these columns, and I cannot drag it and let it go and move it. You can't do that. This is a website. You can't move anything around on a website. It's just not possible. You can't do that with any website that you go to. So that was the number 1 complaint that we actually had in the system. So to come up with a solution, what we've done is we've made manipulating the order of the columns a system preference. So under Setup, System Preferences, General, there is a Rearrange Grid Columns function. And basically, if I click Jobs List View right here, maybe notation doesn't mean much to me. I'm going to put it back here. Yeah, so we just move 1. Now, this is a system preference, so it is something to get used to. So if I refresh the screen, notation is not up here anymore. It's back here after ordered contact, okay? So it being a system preference, it sets it for everybody. We could not make it to where it does it for everybody. Well, technically we can, but we didn't do it because of the fact that every time you load a function, the website always stores your cache and your previous looked at settings. So it becomes too slow when it has to load everybody's personal settings. So it wasn't efficient enough to actually handle it. Now, whether we make that an option in the future by optimizing the system more as technology grows, it may come back, but right now it's a system preference only, okay? Now, let's talk about putting in a new job. So whether you're in monthly view or list view, there's always a new button at the top right. Help opens up the manual, the exact page to the function that you're on, and then close will obviously close the function. But let's put a new job into the calendar. So it doesn't matter, we're just going to click new. And when you start a new job, RB automatically brings you to a search window to search for the client. So if you look to the left, this is the actual job setup, but we're automatically over here to look up. Now, one thing you'll notice here that's different is the lookup is actually lookup firm, okay? That's number 1 difference here. In RB8, you're used to look up contact, the ordering contact on the job. So what is this? Well, this brings us to concept change number 1 in the actual calendar, okay? Concept change number 1 in the calendar is that we now have a scheduling firm concept and an ordering firm concept. In RB8, you can only choose the ordering contact, which selected basically that one firm. And you would select the ordered by, the secretary or paralegal, based on that particular same firm setting. Why did we do this? The reason why is because in RB8 there was kind of an inefficiency, I would call it, with scheduling jobs. Let's say you had a big client that has multiple branch offices. Maybe they have a branch office, an office in Indianapolis, and maybe they have an office in Chicago. Yet the secretary or paralegal calls you guys and says, hey, I need to schedule a job. She's in the Indianapolis office. So she says, I need to schedule a job for my attorney who works in the Chicago office, right? Well, in RB8, you could choose the attorney who's tied to the Chicago office, but the ordered by, you couldn't choose her because she didn't belong to that Chicago office. So you either had to duplicate the secretary or paralegal contact entry by setting them up more than once, or you had to manually type in their name and kind of do it that way. Well, that's not good for being able to see how many jobs that person scheduled for the year, because people can type in names differently. People can use abbreviations, or if it's tied to 2 contacts, I couldn't get that same list in under one. So it didn't give us a true count. So that could be a problem. Okay. So that's why there's a scheduling firm and an ordering firm concept. Whichever one you choose, the scheduled by will be selected based on the scheduling firm. The ordering contact will be based on the ordering firm. Okay. Now, if 90–95% of your jobs, the scheduling firm and the ordering firm are the same, the secretary or paralegal is calling to schedule on behalf of their attorney at that same exact office, and that's fine, because RB automatically defaults the scheduling firm and the ordering firm to be the same all the time. You just have to choose a different ordering firm if they're different than the scheduling firm. That's all you have to do. So in my example, if I wanted to do this, I could say Stratford, right, and Bixby, select my firm. We automatically default them to the same. So again, if they were from the same firm, it's fine. Maybe I have Kelly, and then I have Mr. Stratford. I'm done. Okay? But if Kelly was from that office and Stratford was from a different one, I would be able to go look up firm, choose the other firm, and then this drop down will reflect different names because I chose the other firm. But again, if 95% of the time it doesn't matter because they're all the same, then we're all set. We just have to choose them accordingly. One thing you'll notice here too, when we select the clients, we give you the firm warning, and we also give you the contact warning. They show up there in red. They don't disappear like they do in RB8. RB8, I hated the warnings. Hover over that little stop symbol, yield symbol, not stop, yield or whatever it was, and then we show you the warning for like 10 seconds. Now the warning just stays there and we see it. Another thing that I like, we give you the firm calendar notes and the contact calendar notes right here as well. So we're giving you 4 pieces of vital information right when you select a client. So before you even set any of the job information, you can read that, to make sure, hey, maybe I have them on the phone, I need to ask them something or tell them something, whatever it may be. But these are all good for me as reminders before I schedule their job. Okay? The next section is general. So this is just like the general tab of RB8. Nothing should really shock you here. Job date, put it to tomorrow. Time, we'll say it's 9:30 to noon. Okay, you guys know this. Time zone, business unit. Witness is Larry Smith. Such a generic name, I know. Expert, witness type, job type. You guys know what all this stuff is, so none of this stuff should really shock you. And then we do our case. Our case is still a lookup. Click lookup case, and you're either A, searching for a case, or B, you click new and you add one on the fly. So in my example, Oliver's Olives versus Dirty Salad Company. Job location section, the same as RB8. You have the same options, manual entry, choose a firm, choose a location, choose a resource. your business unit or same as ordering firm. Of course, a lot of today's jobs are Zoom meetings, so a lot of people are putting manual, and then they'll put something like Zoom in here, right? And then eventually put in all the Zoom information. Okay, so that's all the same. And then getting down to the additional section, couple of additions here. Notation still the same, sales rep still there, how referred is still there. Scheduling notes is new. Confirmation notes is the same, resource notification notes is the same, and production and billing notes is new. These two are the same. Confirmation notes, they show up on the confirmation letter that goes to your client. Resource notification notes, they show up on the assignment notification that goes to the assigned resource. So one thing we did change is the terminologies for resource worksheet. We called it resource worksheet or sending the worksheet in RB8. In RB9, we call it assignment notifications. So sending assignment notifications or sending assignment cancellations when things cancel. Otherwise, the fields are exactly the same. But we gave you a scheduling notes field here. And basically, if you think about this one, this is a notes field for you guys, okay? It's for you guys to have a place to put internal notes pertaining to this job that you can see right next to the confirmation notes, resource notification notes, or any production and billing notes. If you think about visually how the RB8 job looks, you only had on the additional tab these two fields here, confirmation and resource notification notes. If you wanted to add your own notes, you had to put them on that last tab, which is the notes log tab. Well, that doesn't really make any sense because if I wanted to compare my notes between those sections, right, I had to flip back and forth in the tabs. Like, it was hard for me to really see what I had. So this will make it a little easier for you guys. Put all your notes here, right, and then you can kind of compare them or need to do what you need to do in correspondence with these fields, okay? Production and billing notes. These are job-specific production and billing notes. So maybe there's something different about this job. Maybe they're ordering something different that's different from their standing order. Or maybe you made a deal with them where you're going to bill them at a certain price for this one job only. That's what production and billing notes in the job would be for. Something specific about this job that I need my production and billing staff to remember about. So maybe in general, he doesn't usually order oversized exhibits, but it says you can put oversized exhibits here for this one. Okay? Or maybe you're going to bill at whatever, $4.50 per page or 0-1. Whatever you're going to do. That will make it so that production and billing, when you go to turn in, you actually see those notes, the job-specific notes, which is nice. Okay? So it'll be different from their standing order stuff. You still have the standing order fields for production and billing notes in the firm setup and the contact setup that you can still utilize, but this would be job specific. Now notice, I can't go down any further. I'm pretty much at the end of the ropes here, and that's just like RB8. When you schedule a job, additional tab is that last tab. You have to click save, which is the same thing you do in RB9, and that will save the job and take you to the next section, which is parties. So you can see if I scroll up a little bit, this is where we left off. And it just took me down to the next section. Kind of same thing that RB8 did. Okay? Now, if you schedule a job and you send a confirmation letter to the client right away, you can still do that from within the job in RB9. All you got to do is click on More and select Send Job Confirmation. And this will be my acknowledgement form. And I'm sending it from Jason. So I can show my mail composer. This can be like what my email looks like. So a couple things there. It still attaches it as a PDF. Your standard email, whatever you guys are using in RB8, it will automatically convert, so you don't have to reset that up or anything. And then, of course, I could, of course, just go ahead and send this out. You can kind of see who it's going to right there. I'm going to take Doug out. He doesn't even work here anymore. But I can send this out. And then it'll go. Okay, so you can still do that. So again, that's under More, Send Job Confirmation. Okay. Now, Parties tab. Parties are the attorneys involved in this particular job, right? We automatically copy the ordering party as a job party because, hey, he is a party. You can add others by clicking new. Same thing before, so same as RB8. But let's go into this party setup. Talk to you about basically how it's the same. General tab has the party information. Billing info section has your bill to information, where if they tell you they're going to build, they want to build third party, you can uncheck same as sold to, look up a different firm, which would be your insurance company, select your insurance adjuster. Then you still have all of your claim number, name of insured, date of loss, direct billing notes, all that good stuff to fill out, so it automatically appears on the invoice for the adjuster so they know what the claim is about. Okay, so all that's still the same. Everything's the same there. The only difference here is the billing rate field. In RB8, you never had the ability to do this, but this is one thing new in RB9 too, is that you can actually tie the billing rate to the job party. So if you already know what rate you're going to use, you can tie it right here. If you eventually go to turn in and billing and you pre-fill this party to do the billing, that billing rate will already be tied to their order. Okay, so that makes it one less step that you have to do in the future. Now, can you use this? It's to be seen. Okay, if you guys have a ton of rates, if you do, and you're always picking and choosing rates based on the type of job or whatever it may be, and obviously no one at Calendar would know that at that time, then you probably can't use it. You still have to set the rate at the time of billing, okay? If you have negotiated rates with clients and you always bill them out at the same rate, and you have that rate set up in RB8 or RB9, you can tie the rate to the contact, or you can tie the rate to the firm. That way, any invoice you create for that particular client, their invoice that you create will automatically have that billing rate tied to it. So you can tie it at the client level too. And that will make it so that if you ever add a job party or a case party, the billing rate will also default to whatever's in their setup. So maybe that instance you can use if you have a negotiated rate with a client. Okay? And then down below, you still have your requested services section. So if they're telling you ahead of time, hey, they want some special services for this job, you can tie them to the job party. That way when you go to billing and you pre-fill, those services will automatically appear on the invoice so your biller doesn't have to remember. Let's get out of here. Specialties, these are the special skills or traits required to fulfill a job. Basically, they're to help you with the assigning. So if you have a job that requires, let's say, real-time, you can add real-time to a job. And if you try to assign a resource to this job, RB will only pull out the resources that have that same specialty in their setup and only show you them as being available. Okay, so that's what specialties do. Some people use it, some people don't. These days, a lot of people don't because they already know who they're going to assign. So specialties really doesn't matter so much these days. I really don't care. I'm going to remove it. Award points. This was a plugin in RB8, and we've added it to everyone's RB9. Now, it's something that is disabled currently, and it will be disabled when you guys go live. Whether you can or can't use it, is to be seen. More than likely, you can't use it. This is actually an Alabama thing. All court reporting agencies in Alabama do this. But what it is it's like incentives, kind of like our credit card point system. The more money we spend, the more points we get, right? Same thing in RB. Award points is the more money they spend, as far as being called revenue being generated, they accumulate points. And those points are redeemable for cash value, gift certificates, hotel stays, plane ticket vouchers, whatever they may be. That's what Alabama does. Other places in the United States, we've had other clients try it. It's frowned upon. So you probably won't use it. It's disabled. Don't worry about it. It's there, but it's not being used. Okay, let's talk about tasks. Because to me, tasks is probably the biggest change in the RB9 calendar as far as the job setup goes and being able to manage your job. So task is basically the service that the client is calling you for that needs to be fulfilled by the resource. So if a client is calling me because they're telling me that they need a court reporter, then court reporting would be my task, or depot. And if they're telling me they need a videographer, video would be my task. If they need a Spanish interpreter, interpreting would be my task. If they need a transcriptionist, then transcription would be my task. So the task that you define in each job is to help you with deciding what type of resource it is that you need to assign to that job. Now, why did we do this? Well, the reason why we did this is for better job tracking. So let me explain something to you. In RB9, you can add as many tasks as you want to a job. As an example, every job will have a task called undefined when you initially save it, because RB doesn't know what type of task it is that you need. So your first step is to define the task. So I could say click on undefined, and I could say we need a court reporter. So this was a depot video. So I need a court reporter. So I'm just going to say depot. And I can set a due date. And then I'm also going to need a videographer. So I can say video. So we know depot, I'm going to assign a resource. It would be the court reporter. And videographer, I'm going to assign the videographer, right? It usually would say video. Now, why do we do this? Because in RB8, you can already do that. You can assign 2 resources. You can assign 3 resources. You can assign as many resources as you wanted to a job. So why do we do this in RB9? Well, the problem was in RB8, it had to do with tracking who's taking care of what part of the job and whose part of the job is still outstanding. And so what I mean by that is, again, use the same scenario. I had a reporter and a videographer tied to this job in RB8. And let's say the videographer, we give them 5 days to turn in their work because they're usually faster. And the reporter, we give them 10 days to turn in their work. Okay? Now, let's say the videographer turns their part in. You go ahead, you don't wait. You go ahead and bill the client for that video portion. You don't want to wait. Well, in doing so, you're turning in that job, you're billing it, you're posting an invoice. It changes the status of that job to billed. So the job's in progress for that reporter, guess what? It's gone because status is already billed. So RB doesn't care about anything else. The job's been turned in, it's been billed, and RB thinks that the reporter did their part when they didn't. So jobs in progress, in theory, could have had a loophole, right? Could have had a problem, right? Now, in RB9, now we track it all by task. Who's taking care of what task? Every task can have its own due date now. So the due dates aren't tied to the job. There's not only one due date, the task has a due date. That's when the assigned resource has to complete that task. So again, this one's kind of backwards. Videographer's after the reporter, but hey, whatever. Let's just say the reporter turns in their portion first. We build a depot. We complete that task. Videographer's task stays untouched because we didn't build for that portion yet. Task in progress works. Court reporter's task is gone. Videographer's task is still there, so it works. So, calendar. Jobs in progress changed to task in progress. Okay, so that will be tracked now at an individual task level based on their own due date and if their task has been completed or not. Okay, and that also allows us now to introduce the overdue task report too, which is a nice one that everyone asked for. Basically, you just go here when a task is overdue for a resource, just click search. We'll show you everyone that has overdue tasks. Like this is Susan, she has 15. If I actually click on 15, it gives you her report. These are all her jobs that are overdue, her tasks that are overdue. And she's got some real old stuff. So then you can actually send these things. You can email them. Okay, so really if I wanted to email all these, I could highlight everybody, hit send, and then you can send an email out. Everybody gets their own report, so they know what they need to do. That's what it's for. Okay. So that's why we did tasks. So to help you guys in tracking what's going on with your jobs in a better fashion. Okay. Now, if you pre-assign or if you assign while you're working in the job, then it's real simple. You just click on the task. This is your assign resource button. Simply click assign resource. And this is where RB will kind of look the same. We'll show you who's available. We'll show you all the warnings. will show you the previous 5 resources assigned for the jobs for this case. You can still override if you want to, but the way this is it usually shows you the resource living closest, their address closest to the job location first, and then it goes down based on going further away from the job. Now, I made this one zoom, so obviously there is no location, right? And that's a lot of what you're going to see now. So since there's no location, it just puts everything in alphabetical order. So maybe I wanted to put Susan back on this job. I can just say Susan and then assign her right here. And also you can look at their task in progress in the 30-day history right here too, just to kind of see how busy they are, and then you can also see how much you've been using them in the past 30 days. Okay, so that'll be helpful as well too. Now this is pretty neat when you actually assign. RB starts to now, RB9 thinks about your workflow, things you may need to do. And as an example, if you assign a resource, maybe you want to send them their assignment notification, their worksheet. So RB will ask you, hey, you just assigned a resource, Susan. Do you want to send her the assignment notification? If you don't, then don't worry about it. Just hit no. Continue about your day. But if you do, you can click yes, and I can pick my worksheet, whatever it's going to be, and then go ahead and send it out. Okay? And you can still email or SMS them out. Okay? So I can save that. If I needed to do the videographer, I can go assign. I don't want a reporter. I want a videographer. So maybe it's Dre Green, assign, and I'm not going to send it right now. But that's how you can assign. So you can assign on the fly as you go through your jobs. Okay. Let's talk about the repository section. This is the same as RB8. This is the job level repository tab. Upload job files. One file that goes in here for sure is the notice. Click new. If you have your files already here, sample notice for example, you can actually drag and drop. File shows up there. If you don't like to drag and drop, just click here and it will open up the standard select your file kind of searching. Okay. But once you have your file selected, click next. Choose your file type, same thing you do in RB8. Choose your file type, publish, whatever you need to do, upload it, and your file will appear. So same thing as RB9, nothing really changes there. And then lastly, you have your notes log tab. So again, this is where you guys can make your own internal notes. You can set reminders the same way you did in RB8. And again, RB will make automatic notes when things are done to this job or when data changes. I try to have a decent trail of what's going on if data changes and as things are happening. Okay, good. You know what? Actually, I am going to remove them because I'm going to show you something. See, really, I didn't even really have to close that. See, I just kind of got out of here. You don't have to technically close the window. If you save it, it'll save everything. Okay. So let's say we're working throughout our day, and you know, I want to talk to you about assigning the calendar, you know, just as you work. Not maybe necessarily as you're scheduling the job like I did, but maybe, you know, you guys assign 2 weeks ahead or something like that. Pre-assigning, okay? Now, pre-assigning can be done, in my opinion, in 2 different ways. If I know who I'm going to assign, I use quick assignments. If I don't know who I'm going to assign and I need to look through a list of who's available, I use the task function. Okay? So let's assume I know who I'm going to assign. So quick assignments, you could pick the job date, whatever it's going to be. So if I was doing 2 weeks out, I could do 2 weeks out. I'm just going to do tomorrow. And when you click search, you'll see all your jobs for tomorrow. You'll see all your tasks. You'll see who's assigned. So assume, again, let's assume this is 2 weeks out. But maybe I know, so the same thing. I just scheduled this last job right here, depot and videographer requested. So maybe, again, I want to assign Susan and I want to assign Dre. I already know. So I don't want to look through my list of people. So all I have to do is go up here, type in a name, find it, drag the name to where I want it, put it here. And RB will ask you if you want to notify him. So if I want to notify him, yes, go ahead and send it out. I don't even need to look at the email. I can just send it out, and it'll just go. Okay? Next up, this one. I know I want to assign Dre. So again, I grab Dre and just go. Same thing will happen. Do I want to notify him? Yes or no? Maybe I don't want to. Say no. But if I know who I'm going to use quick assignments. This is better than RB8 because in RB8, you didn't get the option to email them the resource worksheet in RB8. In RB9, you get the option to send them the assignment notification right on the screen. Maybe I want to look it through my list of resources. So I would use calendar tasks, choose my date, so I could go whatever date range I want. I'm just going to use tomorrow. So here's all my jobs. Here's my resources assigned. I could click on a task. And this is why I would use this function as opposed to doing it like straight from the job. Because yeah, I could do it from the job. I could open a job, edit, go to the task function, and then assign from here. I could do that. That's a lot of clicks though. I don't like that. I would use the task function because you click on the task, we automatically open you to the task. So you just hit edit, and then you assign. That's it. So again, you can look through who's available. Oh, so this is how that distance works. See? It goes up and up and up and up and up. Now, I don't know if these are really real distances, but obviously it's a kind of a fake system. But we could say Sarah Jacobs, assign, send it if we want to. I'm not going to. And then again, I can save and close. I don't need to hit save over there. And then Sarah will appear, and I could do my next one. So you get the idea. Tasks, overall, this particular function can be used for multiple reasons. One, I can look up all my tasks tied to any job for a date range and do my assigning, but at the same time, I can see if things are already assigned. I can see whether they've notified, whether they've acknowledged it or not, so I can get all my task information here. So I don't just use tasks for assigning, I use it for my task information. I'm looking things up if I need to get valuable information. So those are the two ways that I would probably assign if I pre-assign, okay? Now, let's talk about assigning at the very end, after you confirm your calendar, okay? So the first thing I want to do is I actually want to confirm my calendar. So I'm actually going to remove these resources. All right, so let's say we're going to confirm the calendar before I do my last minute assigning after confirmations. If you confirm via telephone or email, right, either way, you're going to go calendar, send job confirmation / cancellation. What you're going to do is by job date, we're going to look at tomorrow. I think we're changing this too to where that will default to tomorrow already. Then you'll click search. Your jobs for tomorrow will appear, the ones that aren't already canceled or whatever. Now, if I email, real simple, check all, send email. Nice and easy, okay? If you confirm via telephone, just open up the job, go down to the client, get Kelly's phone number right here, call her, see what's going on. Kelly, we going for tomorrow? She says yes or no, whatever it may be, okay? Now, how do you actually change a status? So if they reply to your email, or whether you have them on the phone, you're going to be in the job, and you want to be in edit mode. Your status is right here, new. Here's change status, and you will have confirmed or canceled right there. Will call back is still here if you guys use this one, okay? Reschedule is actually on the outside of the job, because remember, we didn't want people going in here and hitting cancel and then reschedule. Remember, reschedule is a one-stop kind of changing, doing two things at once. That's why we separated it out, because reschedule will cancel the original job, let you pick a new date and time, and then copy all that job information to that new date and time with the new job number. So that's why that was on the outside as opposed to everything else being on the inside. Now, I will tell you this too. Something that a lot of people like in RB9 is that you guys can actually create your own job statuses too. So that can be very useful if you think about it, because if there's ever ways you need to pull up jobs in the calendar by status, or maybe you can't do it now currently because you want to find jobs that are at a particular status that doesn't exist, then you can create that status now. Some people do that. Some people will create a status now called like turned in to be billed or something, and they'll leave that job at that particular status, and that's what billing checks to see what they need to bill. So they don't even have to like kind of manually give them any kind of billing sheet or anything like that. Go over there and put it on their desk. They'll upload it to the job, change the status to be billed, and let the biller deal with it that way. That's another option. It's pretty neat overall. So let's say we confirm this one. Save and close. I like it. Status changes right away. Then of course, maybe I was going to cancel one. I could go change status, canceled, right? If you cancel things, RB will ask you if you want to send the cancellation letter. So you can obviously automatically do that. You don't have to stop what you're doing and then send a cancellation letter out manually. RB will remind you and allow you to do it on the fly, which is nice. I'm not going to send it out. Now, let's look at this last one. Actually, I could have did it to that one. I just noticed, but that's okay. We're going to say this one cancels too. Now, this one, we have Susan and Dre assigned, right? But let's say we pre-assigned that, but this one in general is going to cancel. So we're going to go edit, change status. We're going to cancel it, okay? So remember, RB thinks about your workflow. So hey, save. Are you sure you want to cancel this job? Yes. Okay, well, we realize, hey, you're canceling this job. Do you want to send a job cancellation form out? You know what? Thanks for reminding me. I sure do. So I can hit yes, pick my form. I'm not going to look at the mail composer, send it out. That will go. RB now realizes there's resources assigned. So that's kind of your kicker, right? Your reminder. Oh, you know what? I need to notify them. So yes. They'll both get their own email, send out whatever it needs to be. And there it goes. Oh, I showed the mail composer. Anyways, you get the idea. So that's the neat thing about this is that RB will remind you of things that need to be done, just in case it does need to be done, right? That way you don't have to stop what you're doing, because see, if that would have happened and this one had resources assigned, I would have had to go to send assignment notifications / cancellations, pull up that job, and then send the cancellation form out. So by RB asking me, now I don't have to worry about that, which is nice. Okay. So let's just confirm this one. We'll confirm 2. We'll just confirm the last one too. Why not? Okay, and then we'll say they confirmed this one. So we have a good day. We only got 2 cancellations. Okay. Oh, wait. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to confirm it. Way to go. But that's okay. I can always put it back. All right, so let's say I want to make sure all my jobs are assigned, and then I want to send out a final notification to all the resources. Would I use task function? Probably not. I would probably, in this case, what I would do, if I know I'm at the final stage, and my last thing I want to do is maybe email everybody, is I would just use send assignment notifications, cancellations to do my assigning and to send them out, okay? So here's why I would do it, because I could go here, job date tomorrow, search. I see my jobs going forward tomorrow. No one's assigned. I would still assign here because if I click on the task, and again, it takes me right to the task, right? So again, this, if I edit it, it should have been defined as something. I can assign my resource, and we'll say again, I'm going to do Susan. Okay. And I could send it right here if I wanted to, right? But if I don't want to, I can save and close, go to my second job, edit, Again, my task should have been defined. And I'll assign Mr. Bill on this one. Oh, he's not available. Let's just say Kate Andrews. And again, I could always send it out here, but I'll just say no. Maybe I just want to wait till the end. So with everyone assigned, now I would be able to check email or SMS. They just don't have email addresses, I guess. And then I can hit send, or I can print them out, whatever I want to do. So you can do everything at one time from this main screen, or you can still do it all from within the job as you're doing your assigning. But again, I would use this particular send assignment notification cancellations function if I'm going to be doing my assigning and notifying all at the same time. And that's, of course, for the last minute, or not the last minute, but after final confirmations go. Okay. All right, so a couple other things that are, I'll mention in the calendar menu. Resource availability is the same. Resource blast is the same. Daily calendar audit is the same. Send future calendar is a little different in the fact that you can email it directly from RB9. RB8, it was called export calendar. You can only export it as a PDF. But this one, if a client requests their future job calendar, whatever it may be, then yeah, you could go in here, look up the firm, and click search if I define a date range. I only got one job, but yeah, theoretically I could check all and then send it out. So that allows you to actually email it to the client. That's one change we did. Job printouts, pretty much the same. You still have show the task, show all your notes, turn everything on. And you can set a date range for what you want to look at all your jobs. Click search. And RB just made a 3-page report, as you can see. And then there's all your data. The nice thing about this one, too, is that the jobs here, it won't basically cut half of the job off on one page. And then if you go to the third page, continue, it will only put the entire job's detail information on one page. That way you don't kind of have to split it out, which will be nice. Okay. Job analysis is the same. Assignment analysis is the same. We already talked about task in progress. Task in progress looks like job in progress. Basically, it'll show you how many each resource. Alice has 5 jobs. We can see the task, see how old they are, give you the average, see all the due dates. So it works the same. Of course, the clickable link here is the job number, so you can open up the job if you need to, okay, and do anything with the task if you want. And we already talked about send overdue task report and assignment analysis, just to show you how fair you are being to your assignments as far as assigning reporters go. But yeah, that's basically it for the calendar.